Hello, welcome to the Savage Southerner podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Paul H, and we're here to talk all about music. Yes, the build, the alpha, the omega, the awesome music. Now, as this is my first crack at the whip with this sort of thing, never done podcasts before, this might well turn to shit. I'm not going to bombard you with information. We're just gonna play it safe. You know, this is essentially our first date, so I'm not going to just go in for the kill. Just going to slowly tease you in, nice and slow. Right, first, so we're talking about music. So I'll chuck down my background and give you an idea of what future podcasts could be talking about. It's pretty much going to be like 90% music, maybe 10% of something or other here or there, I don't know. But music's the guarantee. So, first and foremost, I am a musician. My main weapon of choice is the lead guitar, but I also play the bass. I don't play the bass as good as the lead, but it's there. I have a baran drum. Those who aren't sure, that's an Irish drum. It's just like a single drum with a stick, which you hit with two ends on it. It gives it a sort of sound as it goes. Got a tin whistle for reasons best known to myself. I've got one tune out of that tin whistle so far. That's the Rattling Bog. But I'm keeping it there because I want to have a few. And what else have I got? I've got a fiddle. Well, I call it fiddle. The professional term would be the violin. But I got that, and I can do a couple of tunes on that, and they all sound shit. That's not fair. No. My rendition of the Titanic tune, as you know, they're sinking. That's not too bad. Just about. But yeah, there you go. So I've got all. Those are my instruments. That's what I play. I'm more heavily. I do some of my own music. I play covers mostly. I mean, if you look on the Paul H official YouTube channel, you'll see loads of like covers of predominantly like rock songs that are on there. But this is the next chapter I'll talk about, is the genres that I'm into. Quick brief of how I got into my main genres, and then leave it at that. The first and foremost one would be folk music. My dad's Australian, and he was of the era when folk music was big. He got a job on the boats, sailed around more times than Phileas Fogg, ended up in England, met my mum, and it was lovely. And me and my sister would be taken down to the local folk club with my dad and my mum. And that was how folk music became a big influence to me early on, and still is now. Yeah, there'll probably be a podcast on folk music. Maybe I'll fish out between separate bands or artists, but yeah, folk music was the first thing that got into me. Excuse I. Second would be not even gonna say the genre. I'm just gonna call it like it is. Queen. When I was 5 years old, my mum gave me Queen's Greatest Hits on cassette, and that started my love, which has lasted well into been over 30 odd years now, and I've not looked back. Huge Queen fan, and getting into from Queen, I got into rock. I was, sniffing around bands that were mentioned in the same title as Queen in like a newspaper article or what have you. And so that got me into the other forms of rock. Another one early on that I often forget but then remember is I like a bit of skiffle. Nothing major, to be fair. The only skiffle artist I could off the cuff name you as Lonnie Donegan, but to be fair, I think he's the only one anyone would know off the cuff without even knowing what skiffle is. They might know the name, but they wouldn't know the genre, which I think is sort of like a mixture of Cockney music with, you know, American style rock and roll. You know, this was the 50s, so be around about that ish. So yeah, so I like a bit Lonnie Donegan skiffle. That's good laugh, good crack. Genres now. From rock I got into metal, got into grunge, got into punk, got into blues. And I got into blues when I was like going on a guitarist-a-thon, wanting to, like, you know, because obviously the guitar work in Queen is phenomenal, and you sort of, I think I figured out early on that guitarists were, the guitar in the bands was my main thing, that the main attraction thing for me. You know, the bits that you really heard most. Obviously with Queen it's different because you got Freddie Mercury on the vocals. You can't ignore that. You can't not be like drawn to that. But it's the same with other bands. But you know, I think if I'm talking like, you know, take away the vocals, then yeah, I think I'd listen to the guitarists more than I would, say, the bassist or the drummer or the keyboardist. Or that's no offence to anyone. I'd love to be able to play all them instruments, but I think it's the guitar that inspired me the most. So yeah, I went through my little phasing through every guitarist I could hear about stage, and that's where I stumbled onto the blues mainly. Yeah. The prime, I think the best example would be Stevie Ray Vaughan. Because I'd heard about Hendrix before. I'd seen the footage of him in Woodstock doing the old Star Spangled Banner. It blew my arse off watching him play that. That was phenomenal. If no one's seen it, see it. Go watch it. Go find the footage. It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, so you know, often in magazines you'd hear about, well, you know, they had the guitarist rankings. You know, of course Hendrix was always there, and I always smiled when I saw that Brian May was always like in the top 5. But yeah, I digress. Stevie Ray Vaughan, yeah, that was like that's like the main blues artist that I could really put a lot of fucking hell into, because he's phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal. It's another case of, you know, losing all our brilliant artists too soon, you know. So yeah, there we go. That's a quick brief down of the genres that I have familiarity with. I'm not going to list through every single band that I've got a thing for, because there's just too many. I'll probably just save them for like individual podcasts. So, assuming I don't bollocks this one up, and the podcasts, there'll be more podcasts to come under the title of The Savage Southerner. Yeah, so there'll be more podcasts to come, assuming I don't bollocks this one up. And if I named every single band I liked now here, that's, you know, I could have done like another like fucking 100 odd podcast episodes and wasted them all listing every band I like now. Also, like I said, I don't want to explode too much information on you, you know. On this is my very first crack at a podcast, and I don't want it to be like an hour long and it turned out to be shit. At least this way, if I can keep it under 10 minutes, it doesn't matter, you know. I've not lost much, you know. A touch of pride, but other than that, I wouldn't have lost much. So yeah, there we go. So yes, this the podcast is going to majority is going to be all about music. I think the next podcast from here will probably be a thing about, well, unless you can always comment in what you would like. If you'd like me to do a podcast episode about a certain band or a certain genre, I mean, you can by all means request Queen, but fear not. If I can, if I learn how to do podcasts, there will be ones of Queen. More than one. I'll probably do like like a review thing of every album, including Hot Space. you know, that one chink in Queen's armour. But that said, for a shit album, it's got some fucking awesome songs on it. Not loads, not loads. There's about 3. I could probably think about 3 songs off my head that are still worth their salt. And, you know, if you saw the album going cheap, it's worth buying it for those songs alone. Anyway, I'm banging on a bit here. Right, well, I'm going to rock off, and I hope you will... Hopefully I've enticed you into listening to future podcasts from the Savage Southerner. Right, but in the meantime, that will do it, because this was just an introduction. And I'll hopefully, once I've got this up and running and on the internet and worked out how it all works, I'll do loads more. I'll do loads more. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm going to call it a day, because I've got to pick the kids up from school in a minute. So, yes, this is the Savage Southerner signing out. See you later.